the hundreds and thousands of hours that you've spent listening and watching your husband Jordan Peterson's biblical lectures. I wonder what it was about those lectures that resonated with you so deeply, and ultimately what part they played in your Catholic faith.
That's a very good question. Let's see. So I probably listened to 250 lectures. So I listened to pretty much everything that he talked about for, I think, a year and a half. So that's a lot. That's a whole education. And I had never gone to his university classes, or I'd never gone up into his office and uh, watched him write or anything. I mean, uh, and I didn't sit with him also when he was sharing his book with anyone. I had my own mm, I had my own interests that I was pursuing, and we were busy. We had children, and so often husbands and wives, I think, don't have necessarily a lot to do with each other. But it seemed when Jordan's first video went viral, I I reflected on it, and I thought, if I don't step up to join him in this adventure, whatever it is, and wherever it goes, and we didn't know, then we will no longer be married, because uh, it was a complete change from what we had been doing. And so that, I think, that first decision for me to just to go with him was a change for me. And I had already dropped what I was doing, right? Because I had arthritis, so I'd dropped being a massage therapist. And I had 6 months right there where I was looking to see which way my life was going to go. And that's exactly when this change came about. So it was, you know, I didn't plan it, but the timing was perfect for me, because my kids were gone from home, and I had given up my practice and said goodbye to all my clients, and I was free to attend to the next right thing. And at the moment, I didn't even know what that was, but I went along and I kept a very low profile. I was anonymous and went out to see the protesters, and I'd find out who they were. They didn't know who I was. So it was an interesting year, and to say the least. And but I had a question in my head all the time: what was I doing there? I was listening. Um, and some days I'd talk to him. I think that your talk was pretty clear. Or some days I'd say, I think that that one kind of scattered a little too broadly, and so it was hard to follow, and maybe you didn't have enough rest, or maybe you talked to that journalist in the afternoon too long and you were too tired. And so I spent my time really analyzing his performance and what I could do to enhance his performance. I didn't I was listening, but I didn't understand why I was there. But I was asking, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? And near the end of that year uh, was when I ended up becoming deathly ill and had this religious experience. So that's why I think that it had something to do with what Jordan was saying. And there was quite a bit of there's a lot of ethics. There's quite a bit of religion, not as much as there will be in the next tour, because his next book is called We Who Wrestle with God. So it's a commentary on the biblical stories. So it'll be even more based in the biblical corpus. Um, but there was enough of it there at that time, and there was enough. He has a great way of explaining what the stories mean. And I think I had never had the stories explained to me in a way that I could really grasp what was going on. But now I could, or at least it looks that way, because when I ran up against life and death, uh, you know, God came into my life and showed me the direction to go. I prayed, right? I prayed when I was ill, and I said to God that I would speak publicly if I lived through it. And that has been very interesting as well, because that's exactly what I do now. That's the central thing I do, is talk to people, listen and talk to people. Yeah. Who knew that was going to happen? I surely didn't.